What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We'll see if we wait a little bit for some more people to start to pile on in. It looks like we got a little bit of a bullish day ahead of us, at least pre-market wise. And I'm late to the game, so I don't know if I missed some news or something like that, but we will check it out. Good morning. We got Renee in the house. We got Brian. Chris is here. We got Brian J. We got my YouTubers piling on in. All right. Very cool. Very awesome. And what I'll do is I'll also do the trading view one as well. So we'll get a good start on that one. Give me 1 second, team. Beautiful. So let's start with the SPY. We'll run to the Qs. We'll go through the stocks that we watch every single day. We'll try to get a feel for them. And then any obviously tickers or anything like that you guys want to cover, make sure you throw it out there. Let me know. It is beginner Fridays, so we'll try to slow down a little bit. I technically only have one speed, and it's really slow. So I don't know if I can go much slower, but I'll do my best. Whatever you guys need, throw out any questions in regards to trading or stock or anything like that today. We'll both myself and Johnny will be happy to help answer that and try to provide at least as much detailed insight into the thought process behind them and make sure we could start to really understand the markets together, which is important for I wish I was a selfish act, but the more you guys know about the markets, the more you guys are throwing out good solid setups and helping each other. You guys throwing good setups into Slack. I'm like, all right, I might take that one. That looks decent. Exactly what I look for. Crazy. But if we look at the SPY, so we are gapping up. We are into a major VPOC from yesterday. So we were there for a good portion of the day yesterday. That's going to be a very, very important breach. So obviously on this gap, even though it is a gap and go, technically, we're not gapping outside of yesterday's range. We are probably about smack dead at about 50% retracement of yesterday's move. Let's see if I'm doing this one correctly. Yep. All right. So we got yesterday's move where we're gapping is slightly above that 50%. So we have yesterday's VPOC. We're going to have that 618 retracement from yesterday. We also look like maybe potentially this is some type of a wave 1, 2, 3. This could be a 4. And then we retest. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Step 1 would be, can we even break through this pre-market resistance, which should be yesterday's VPOC. So we are gapping up. I think people are starting to feel good again. I think we might see a retest down first. So I think we fade first. I could be wrong again. If this thing starts opening up strong, pushes that 618, maybe starts holding the VPOC and then pushes again. All right. Well, then I think at least we'll probably see the double top come in, something like that. But for right now, I think it's just there's a lot in this area between VPOC, 618, potentially a wave 4, something like that. Unless I'm the only thing is on the wave count, maybe that's not true. So we'll see. Let's do what I'm thinking is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something in that direction. But I could also make this case too. So if the wave count is not spot on, I could do 1, 2, 3, some type of 4, 5. This was the ABC, and we're just straight gapping above it. Wave counts in the morning, kind of a little bit strange, a little bit tough, just because you get just a lot of crazies out there that push around the market because the bell rings and people get excited and then don't really have self-control. So in a longer term aspect of things, it usually holds up, but right in the morning, sometimes it's a little tougher. We will see. We got the Qs. So Qs looks very similar to the SPY. Not really gapping. The Qs might have a little bit more room to run at open. Not much. it looks very similar to yesterday. Also, we're starting to have the VPOX drop on us as well. So I'd still also go a little bit more bearish and bullish, where yesterday's VPOC close was actually below the previous day. So if we were to take off the developing VPOCs, we're just looking at 2 lines right there and there. And that actually does show a little bit more weakness, but it's only one move after a strong. We're starting. I don't know. We're starting to jump around a little bit. I think we're starting to shop a little bit to the weaker side. So we're starting to see the VPOCs. There's a bearish day, then you got a nice bullish day, then you got a bearish day. Now we're leaning, depending on where this thing opens, bullish day. So we're kind of just in a little bit of longer term chop. If we're looking at the volume, though, we still should have all of this volume as some kind of support. We're getting very, very close to a massive bullish run. So this is 326. We start to break out. Not a lot of volume in there. Probably looking at 328.33 on the Qs. Trading View Elliott Wave is showing C. Yeah, I don't really use the Elliott Wave program design tool thing just because, number one, I've seen iRobot and I don't trust robots. I'd rather just do it myself. Because when you put too much faith into the robots, they end up obviously taking over the world. So, I just try to be cautious, do what I can. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't like it as a prediction tool. Like, even there's also, and just to kind of make the point home, bring the point home, there's also ways you could scan, and I don't know about in Trading View, I'm sure there is, but even like other software, they'll look for hammers all day, right? And you could set it to find, let's say, to find a hammer, double bottom, but how we might define a hammer, like they would consider this a hammer, this is also a hammer, this is a hammer, this would be, no, they probably wouldn't qualify that one. They would qualify that as a hammer. So obviously this being a hammer has a lot more weight just because the wick is actually a wick, but they're also going to look at this and say, okay, well, there's a wick down here too that's longer. That's a hammer, and you're just kind of throwing out random facts because the computer can't actually identify like what we would actually define. There's no way to put into a computer like the wick has to be exactly this size, or it's got to be that, like it's very difficult for a computer to interpret the information the same way that we would. So I don't go necessarily completely off of that, but it could be maybe in a longer term. All right, we got Apple. So Apple is gapping up. We are above yesterday's VPOX. Developing is, at least we were also still highest volume of the day was at the top. So we're still actually leaning a little bit more bullish than bearish. This would be probably still, at least to this point, a buy the dip on Apple, I would assume. But let's look at the hourly real quick. Never mind, the hourly. Yeah, so hourly, we are stair-stepping down a little bit. The closing VPOX, we're still on the push up, but we've developed down into this. So I'd want to see us break, which right now we are. Yeah, probably Apple is going to be a little bit more. I'd still want to see a retest. So on this one, I would love to see a retest down into this 168.74 zone. And I'm probably not going to be buying it here. I'll wait. I'll miss the entire breakout move. But right now, I think this is still technically in a buy the dip situation for Apple. We would just need to almost retest this because it did not obviously get retested yet. So could we fade and then bounce? That's my plan, at least. Otherwise, if we start looking bullish and we're starting to change those pogs or break out, I will play it. But right now, I still rather play it bullish than bearish. Delta did look like it weakened a little bit. Again, we're just dancing around VPOC from 2 days ago, but we did show a sign of a little bit of weakness. This is only one move down so far. Again, once you have two, you start to build a trend out. So I'm going to be a little cautious, but inside day, we're not going to be able to trade that out of the gate. Tesla. So for Tesla, where are we gapping? We're not doing anything really. Yep, Tesla is still gapping up with the rest of the market. We still have VPOC above us. I'm just seeing this VPOC everywhere right now. And I'm also seeing none of them will qualify out of the gate. So we might have to sit on our hands for a little bit. Let's see this one. This is yesterday's trade. I guess we could have just took targets off and just ran that little ride down all day, but we'll take what we can get. This one, we'll have to see. We're still stair stepping up a little bit, but in a shorter term basis, we're starting to move down again. I would be looking for about a 618 retrace on this one for targets. Until that moment, I don't know if I want to go completely bullish on NVIDIA. Not quite yet. We are gapping above the 10 EMA on an hourly, so that's a little impressive. This one's going to be a little stagnant, I think, until either 182.08 gets taken down or 180.68. Otherwise, I think we're just in a little bit of a chop zone. So I will wait for those two to kind of come in, trade sideways maybe for a little bit, and then choose a direction. But we have room. We have really, really good room on both sides. I would say that this one almost tested up here. This was my target, 189.34. We didn't quite get there. So I could actually see maybe another push higher first and then come down, but we will see. We'll see. I gotta break out of either of those two VPOCs to give myself a real direction. They're too tightly wound. Let's take that off. AMD, again, gap up, not that impressive. Still below yesterday's VPOC, still in between two different key levels that we have where volume came in, institutions were interested. So we might just chop around a little bit. We're not going to be able to play that one at open. Amazon, the zone. We'll take this off. We'll take this off and this one. So Amazon, nice little hourly hammer at least. So maybe we could lean on that one a little bit. Again, we are gapping above where we spent a decent amount of time. Somewhere in this 141.82, dead smack in the middle. Honestly, this could go either way. We should have a little resistance, probably at the 142.58. So I would say if you do want to take advantage of the short side, again, we do have a solid looking hammer. I mean, even a computer bot could figure that one out. That one looks decent with a slightly engulfing candle, at least for the body of that one. This is a retest. Most hammers get retested. I would say most hammers eventually come down. They'll get retested. That should be some kind of support resistance. So if you want to go long, probably the best attempt somewhere in this 140.70 zone, maybe even slightly lower by a few pennies. If you want to go short, I would first attempt probably 142.59 on Amazon. So again, I can play this either way. We're just still inside 10 EMA. We're going to be, unless something opens and just starts running like crazy, we're going to be sitting a little bit on our hands today in the morning, which is fine. If there's any other stocks that you guys want to throw out, we still have plenty of time. Otherwise, I'll just go and run through my list real quick, see what else is looking a little bit different than the market, if anything. Everything's gapping about 50% of yesterday. There's Boeing gapping up right into VPOC. Nothing crazy there. Come on, Mark, give me something different. Square. Brian says Netflix. All right, I know that one is on my list, so we will get to that one in a second. Airbnb. Strong day yesterday for Airbnb. Again, everything's about a 50% retrace of yesterday, which is very interesting. I don't say I have really edge either way. I'd say still slightly a little bit more to the downside, thinking that some of these things that are gapping up is retesting. Pins might be interesting. In a weird way, pins might actually be a little bit more interesting. Because at least we're gapping above yesterday's VPOC that We were kind of holding. I would say if I wanted to trade this thing, let's go a little bit smaller on time frame. This is the break. Okay, good retest. I would probably do something. I would hate to take the breakout right at open. I'd much rather try for like a 23.02 and then 22.46. Some kind of setup there that puts a couple of VPOCs. It's not that wide of a spread. I could also see taking the breakout. I'm just a little, especially at the open, probably not. But if this is holding, this starts a break, pulls back, then I would take a break out of this little pivot. The pins looks a little bit interesting, at least. JD. All right, we'll take a look at that for Justin. JP Morgan. Harold wants to look at LI. JP Morgan. So financials. This gap is actually a little bit better too. So you probably got 1, 2, 3, 4 candles of bullishness toward the end of the day. This one might come down for some kind of retest, but this one's gapping closer to the highs of the day. So maybe financials might be a little bit stronger today, because it's definitely not. I mean, really, it's not tech, at least yet, and Delta, not them either. Snowflake. Just pretty much hanging out the lows of yesterday. We will see Baba. Baba looks different. So Baba gapping completely past or down past yesterday's entire daily range. We are below another VPOC. This one is definitely looking a little bit more short. We have a little bit of consolidation that we'd have to get through to the short side of things. But I would rather play this one. I would sell the rips on Baba for sure. I don't know if we get back up into this 94.74, but if it gets at 92.44, I would definitely be interested in coming up with some kind of short on Baba. That one does look different. Tony says, is the 1 hour chart best for your prelim stocks? Yeah, I think so, because what I'm really looking for, I don't really care what's happening in the last 3 minutes of pre-market or after hours or anything like that. I'm only really interested in the small time frames, the 1 minute, the 3 minute, the 5 minute, even the 15 minute, when I'm looking to enter the trade. So that's a valid point for Beginner Fridays, and we will get to the other stocks too, that you guys are throwing out there. But what I'm looking for is, number one, what is the bigger picture? What direction? All I'm really doing right now, honestly, is going 50-50 flipping coins. That's it. Right. I'm taking hard-earned money that I work for and sweated and through some traded hours of my life. And I look at the market and I'm just going, cool, I'll go 50-50. We'll flip a coin, heads or tails. Let's see if I can win. Realistically, that's it. Because if I could get the direction first, and if I could get the overall comfort level as which way the market should trend, or come up with some kind of formula is like, this is weak, like Baba. I think Baba's a little bit weaker. So now what would be more interesting is when that bell rings, we flip it to a small time frame and we're like, okay, let's see. I think the direction is short. So if it goes long, I don't want to be in it. If it goes short, the question is where can I get in? That's when the smaller time frame is going to come. That's going to help me take a setup that, because now I have the coin flipped, right? It's either I'm right or wrong on that. But if I'm right, okay, well, how right can I be? Can I do a 2 hour trade on it? Can I do a 1.2? Is it a just keep on waiting and watching type scenario? How do I actually play that coin toss? So for me, yeah, they're just, I don't care so much what the hours are doing. I just need to know where the price is and give me that longer term feel for where this stock could actually go. TDOC, so TDOC's bouncing off of, or it's at least above yesterday's VPOC. Let me get to DLTR. Roku, since we're about to look at Netflix. Roku, very unimpressive so far. Snapchat is back to $11. Whew. Okay. Netflix. Technically it is a gap and go. We are going to have I would like to buy this one. If you want to go long, I would like to go buy this thing somewhere close to 243.45. That should be the level that holds. That's pretty much the retest into this hammer. That's also a retest into that previous VPOC with bigger volume that day. So I would expect for that to hold. And then the bullish move, I mean, you're starting to make lower highs on this actual stock as well after just a big, massive run up. I don't know that I want to be completely bullish yet. Like where I think this thing just comes up and starts breaking out the highs of yesterday, because I think this is also going to be an extremely large. This is going to be an extremely large resistance for Netflix, making the higher or the lower highs as well. So if you do want to go long, I'd be seeing if you could probably almost play this hammer exactly. So 243.53 stop would be somewhere in the, I'd go a little bit lower than that, probably somewhere in the 240.96. If that trade makes sense, which I don't think the risk reward does, up into this 245. So you're risking roughly about $3. I mean, it's going to be tough to, you might be able to squeeze somehow in or out of that trade to the bullish. What I'd rather do is just sit on my hands, wait, and then see what happens when we get up to this 245.50 zone, somewhere up there, and then try to attempt to play this one short for right now. So that would be Netflix. We got Cam wants AMC. Cam is joining Team Ape. Okay. Let's look at JD first. Before we get to that one. We also have Visa coming in. Got you. This one looks good. JD, that's a nice gap down. So Baba Week, JD I like better. This is a good find. JD.com. You got a little support. Probably the real target on this one. I mean, you do have, you're going to have somewhere in this 54.30 could hold it up. You're breaking a lot of just pivots. The next target probably puts us somewhere close to 53.24. That gives us about $1.50 to the downside. I would love to see a little. I don't even know if this thing starts to retrace at all. I think easily we're going to get into 55.83. That would be the best possible short. Somewhere around the 55.83. That gives us a little bit more risk reward on the trade. We don't have much volume here, so it seems like we're still holding. So wait for this thing to bounce a little bit, but that does look like a really, really good short. It's going to have, obviously, anytime we got down to these levels, we got pushed up and held from here. I think we could definitely come lower. I think we're trapping a decent amount of people. So sentiment would be short. Look to short a little bit higher, create a better risk reward on this trade than what's given right now. Even pre-market looks very similar for most tech this morning, including, yep. Let's take a look at LI for Harold's. My boy Harold's. Looking for, does look weak. So it looks very, very weak. In just the terms of where this thing is actually gapping, LI Auto. Watch out for this level right here, 31.53. It might try to find a little bit of support, 31.53. So you still have developing, at least to this point, you have developing the VPOCs going higher. I don't have one that's really coming down lower yet. So I would actually be looking for maybe a potential bounce spot in that 31.53. So to the downside, be very, very careful. You might have a little bit more room on that retest, at least back into this 32.77. So that's how it would look, but you have support right in front of you. Where risk to reward, even though this does look like a very bearish gap, if you're just worried about the risk to reward, which I think as traders, we should be worried about that all the time. I would assume that the actual risk to reward is to the higher side. AMC Cam throwing a gap up past double top. AMC was bananas yesterday. Good move. Probably get some kind of continuation. What I would look for Cam, I mean, this thing is going to be, we're in ape territory right now, Cam. I don't know. Rules don't apply. But if you could get a retest back down to 25.44, that's where I'd be targeting. You should have very good support somewhere around 25.98. The last hourly candle, you actually had some selling, so you're trapping a couple people with a very strong support. I would love to see some kind of pullback and then move, but this is a very, very nice gap. And again, we're in ape land right now, so I don't know how big pullbacks come as soon as things start spreading around the internets. People get a little exuberant. If there's a pullback, you got to stay bullish with it. Buy the dip, support the apes. Let's look at Visa real quick. What do we got? 4 more minutes, 3 more minutes. All right, we got Visa. Looking to go short swing trade. You're a little bit in chop zone. The market is irrational. So here we got a new higher, definitely new lower, looking completely weak. Then we get a crazy high. This is probably about a 618. We're probably at this pullback's probably somewhere in the 618 retracement of this move. I don't think you have to. You can start planning a swing trade. You do have a good longer term double top. You're starting, at least at this point, start to look like we're breaking down a little bit. It is Visa. And I think Americans have put more have put more debt onto credit cards now than even prior to COVID, which was out of control at that point. We just okay. I haven't used this swiping hand in a while since I've been indoors, and I think we went a little crazy. So longer term, I think Visa does very well. Valuation wise, should they be at 212? That would be the only thing I'd have to look into, which I'd have to look at the earnings reports. But I see what you're looking at. This does look like a good double top. You should have a decent spot for placing some kind of stop. And it's very possible this thing rolls down. We just don't have the confirmation yet. We're just chopping around. But I would definitely add that to the watch list. I think short could definitely be the direction for this thing if this double top holds and we start moving from there. Tony wants to look at DKG. And I think we got 1 more minute left. That's a good gap up. It's a good gap, but same thing as the rest of the thing. So it's about 50% retrace right now on the gap. And this is going to put us at 1930 is some kind of resistance that I don't know that if we break or not. I have no clue. But that was yesterday's VPOC. So could this be just a 5618 retrace? We hit that resistance and we fade. I'm kind of thinking that's how this day plays out. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been proven wrong before, though, so take what I say with a grain of salt, not like the word from the Bible. But the only way to really know what happens for sure is just wait 23 seconds. We'll find out very, very soon. Play the charts. Don't play your hearts. Don't get committed to anything that's really, quite frankly, I mean, all we could do is come out here and throw out educated guesses out here, but once people start getting stubborn and not become as flexible with the markets, with the decisions, that's when they just keep saying this market's got to change. This stock has to go the other way. Make sure you guys control your risk. Make sure you guys are well aware of the market situations. Also, what happened? Did I? Where's my Zoom? Okey-doke. Zoom. Can you guys still hear me or no? Somehow. Oh, there's the Zoom. Oh, there you go. I stopped sharing the screen. Got you. We're back. I thought I deleted it real quick. I was like, oh no, not again. All right, YouTubers, you guys are glorious, but